They say that this present generation should theoretically live the longest, this generation, right? Because our generation and the generation before that, we didn't get, in our prime especially, we didn't get nutrients, good food and stuff. So now you've got wealth, so you get the best food, and then in those days, exercising wasn't a thing, so now people exercise and stuff. So on paper, your generation should live to past 100. But they also, scientists also say, nutritionists and doctors also say, that this generation will struggle to get past 60. And one of the reasons for that, which I mentioned to a Jamaat yesterday, I'm not saying that, the doctors say that, is due to sleep deprivation. And sleep deprivation is due to the mobile phone and devices. So a person at your age, you should be getting a good 7-8 hours of sleep. But if you actually calculate, you'll be struggling. Some people struggle to get 4-5 hours of sleep. Anyway, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem. Our body, our health, our life is all an amanat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All a trust from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have to utilize that to make our akhirat. That's why Allah Ta'ala has given it to us. The people before us, they utilized their resources, their health, wealth, time, their faculties to make their akhirat. Today we are using those resources to make our life, worldly life, better. Thinking that I can live for a long time, I'll get this, I'll get that. But the real thing is Allah Ta'ala has given us all these resources in order to make our akhirat. And people of the past, a person of Iman is always thinking of opportunities. What can I do in order to make my akhirat? So there was a big alim by the name of Abdullah bin Mubarak. You can get a chair if you want. Get yourself a chair. Sit on a chair. Abdullah bin Mubarak, who's a big buzurg. He was a ustad of Imam Bukhari. So one time he set off for Hajj. And he was with a caravan. His brother was in there as well. And then in those days, they used to travel by road. So they got to Iraq or somewhere on their way to Makkah. So they stopped there to collect supplies and stuff. So he went shopping. When he went shopping, next to the market, there was a dump where people would throw their garbage, their rubbish. On that, he found that there was a dead duck. And he saw a woman, she came, she had her face covered, stealthily coming, looking around, no one's watching, and she went and she cut up that duck, put it into a bag. So Abdullah bin Mubarak was a great alim, and he said to himself that this woman, she's doing fraud, she's going to go and sell that to someone's going to eat haram. So he decided, he didn't let it pass. Like us guys, we see people doing wrong, we just think it's not my problem. You know, this masjid, in Ramzan they open that door. There's another door on the main road, so easy access. So one Ramzan, quite a few years ago, I always use that. If I'm here, I use that. So come just before Maghrib, and then you come into the masjid, and then you can pray, you can do your iftar, pray your Maghrib, and then quick exit. So it's a very easy in and out. But one day when I came, there was a queue there. So it's taking time to come in, and it's getting close to Maghrib namaz. And I'm thinking, Ya Allah, what's the hold up? So as I got closer, I saw that every person who's stepping into the masjid being the house of Allah, he's stopping and he's looking to his left, stopping there for a bit, and then he's moving on. So I thought, what's going on here? So when it came to my turn, I looked, and there was a guy. Now when I mention this, people laugh first. They laugh. And I say that this is a state of our iman. If this is what we're laughing at, we shouldn't be laughing, we should be crying at this. What happened is there was a person, obviously a Muslim, sitting in the house of Allah. This whole building is the house of Allah, but this in particular, Jamaat Khana. So he was sitting there in Ramzan, 2 or 3 minutes before Maghrib Namaz, on his phone, watching a game of football, watching half naked men running around. Huh? But that wasn't the saddest thing. The saddest thing that I found was that all these people had walked in before me and no one had even said anything to him. What are you doing? Watching half naked men in the house of Allah in Ramzan, Maghrib time, when you're supposed to be engaging in dua. So when I stepped inside, I looked, I was shocked, I was disgusted. I said, "Bhai, oi." So he looked up. No, first he didn't even look up. I said, "Oi." So then he looked up, gave me a dirty look. I said, "Masjid." So he carried on watching. I said, "Bhai, Masjid." Carried on watching. Then I said it loud. I said, "Bhai, Masjid." So then he got embarrassed that, I'm making a scene. So then he gave me a dirty look again, and then grudgingly put it away. So my problem with that isn't the fact that he was doing a gunai kabira, a sure way of getting kicked out from the house of Allah. He's not going to be invited in again many times from Allah if he's doing something like that. But the worst thing was the fact that all these other people walked in and no one said anything to him. That's how we've become. So Abdullah bin Mubarak and the people of the past weren't like that. When they saw something, when we were kids, if we were caught smoking, if somebody saw us smoking, we would know that news would reach dad and we'd get a clobbering. Nowadays, somebody looks, says, "Oh, cigarette piece, oh, forget him. Forget him. I don't like his dad anyway. Serves him right." People just dismiss it. And that's why we've got into the situation we're in. So this is why we need to change that mindset. If we see something good, somebody doing wrong, it doesn't matter who it is, we should tell them nicely. Anyway, so Abdullah bin Mubarak, he thought that this woman, she's going to sell haram. So he followed her. So she got to her house, there was a big door, she banged on the door. Some girls from inside called her, "Who is it?" So she goes, "That it's the same grief-stricken, wretched person that left you a while ago." So then they opened the door and then she went inside. Abdullah bin Mubarak looked into the house from a crack in the door and he found that she went inside and she opened the bag and she put it inside in the middle, and all these, about 7 odd little girls came, and the woman said that, "I've bought you some food." So the girls looked at it and they said, "Oh, this is rotting flesh." So the woman started crying and said, "What can I do if I have no other resources and we've not eaten for 4 days? What else can I do?" So they all started crying. So Abdullah bin Mubarak, that struck him. And that's when he saw that this is my opportunity to make my akhirat. That's a mindset that we need to get into. Every single day Allah Ta'ala gives us chances that this is my opportunity to make my akhirat. Whether it's through namaz, whether it's through sitting in talim. One of our elders, Molana Usman Kazee, he came and he was traveling around, and then he said, I was so tired one day, delivered bayans all day, and he said, I got to a masjid and I thought to myself that I'm going to pray my sunnahs and I'm going to go and then I'm going to rest. And I told the person who bought me, I told him as well, jaldi nikli jaye. So he goes, after namaz, the elan was made that there's going to be dars hadith. So he goes, I debated with myself, and then goes, I just sat there. So the person is waiting for me. So the person came and said, "What's up, Jalo?" What's up, said, "Mahija." So afterwards, the person said to me, Molana says, "Masa, you were so tired, you were shattered, and you were saying that you're hungry, you're tired, and you're not going to sit." He said, "Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. But then when the announcement fell in my ears that the words of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam will be shared," he said, I didn't have the guts to leave that gathering. I thought, I need to sit here for a while at least. So Abdullah bin Mubarak thought, this is my opportunity. So what did he do? He went into the market, and the money that he had for his Hajj, he spent that, he bought loads of things, put it all into a box, bought some food, some clothes and stuff, and then he went and knocked on the door. So the old woman called out, "Who is it?" So he said that, "Please open the door, I have come," this, that. So they opened the door, and then he said to her that, "Look, this is what I bought for you. I saw what you did." So then the woman started crying, and then she said that, "My husband passed away, I have 7 daughters, we have no other means, so this is why we have had to resort to this. And after 3 days of starvation, haram meat becomes halal for you as well. This is why I took the meat. So don't think bad about me." So Abdullah bin Mubarak cried, and he said that. And then inside there, he'd put the remainder of his gold coins, his expenditure for Hajj, he'd hidden that in there as well. He said, "Take it all." So when they took it inside, they opened it, then all the girls started crying. And the youngest girl, they all gave dua, and the youngest girl, she said that, "May Allah Ta'ala grant you Hajj forever." So Abdullah bin Mubarak, he cried, and then he left them. He went back to his brother and his companions, and he said that, "I'm not coming for Hajj." So they said, "What the heck, you crazy guy. We've come all this way, you've got to come." He said, "No, I'm not coming." So they tried and tried to persuade him, but he said, "No, I'm not coming for Hajj." So then after 2 days, unwillingly, they had to leave him. And he said, "I stayed there in that town until they would return." So I was heartbroken because I'd missed on this opportunity of performing Hajj. But he said when they returned, when people started coming, he said then I got over the grief. But when after a few months, when news came that Hajis are returning, because they were going through that town, he goes, then my grief, my wounds were opened up, and he goes, I was heartbroken again. I missed out on Hajj, ya Allah, I missed out on Hajj. So he goes, whenever anyone came, first thing I did, I would go and meet them. They were from other groups. So I'd go and meet them. "May Allah Ta'ala grant you Hajj Mabrur." So the person would say, "Yeah, may Allah make your Hajj Mabrur as well." So I'm thinking, what's he talking about? I didn't even go. So he said, I said it to a few people, but I didn't go. So they say, yeah, whatever. Yeah. So when that kept on happening, he goes, then my brother and my caravan, they arrived. So they said to me, yeah, may Allah Ta'ala, I said to them, and they said, so he goes, I didn't go. So they said, yeah, whatever. So then he said, I couldn't make sense of it. So when another person said to me, when I said to him that may Allah Ta'ala make your Hajj Mabrur, and he said, yeah, yours as well. I said, I didn't go. So I said, what are you lying for? We met in Mina. You are college. Remember we had that conversation? So he goes, I'm getting really puzzled. Then one person, I met him, may Allah Ta'ala make your Hajj Mabrur. He said, yes, yours as well. He said, I wasn't there. He goes, what are you talking about? We met in Arafat, man. And you remember you gave me that bag to keep, for safekeeping. He said, here's that bag. Back to you. So Abdullah bin Mubarak, he said, no, it's not mine. He said, come on, man, you give it to me. So he goes, I took it. And he said, I took it back, and I couldn't make sense of it. So there was a heavy bag of gold coins. So he said, I didn't open it. I thought it doesn't belong to me. I just put it aside. And then I cried, and then I made dua, and then I went to sleep. In my dream, I heard somebody announcing that, oh Abdullah, how many witnesses will you need from us? Of course you went for Hajj. When you sacrifice your Hajj to help the poor, we designated an angel who has done Hajj for you and will do so for eternity. And then he said, Man amalana rabiha. Whoever makes a transaction with us, with Allah, never loses out, always benefits, always profits. So Abdullah, and he goes, and then in the dream, the voice said that we have returned to you the 200 or whatever it was, dinars that you gave to the old woman. Check the bag. So he goes, I woke up, and then I checked the bag. I opened it, emptied it, and there was 200 gold coins in there. And then he said, I checked the seal, because they used to seal the bags. So he said, on the seal, they used to put their signature, engraving, whatever. Yeah. So on that was written, Man amalana rabiha. Whoever makes a transaction with us profits. So this is the mindset that we need to get into. Today we're in the dunya. Our mindset is so different from this. Our mindset is like the mindset of the non-Muslims. here and now. Muzakara, khao pio. Huh? Anyone you hear talking, dohas in the masjid, go check in your masjid in the foyer, in Jami Masjid in the back, or here. If you listen, if you're just sitting there pretending, doing your tasbih, pehla curry house mein gaya tha main. Oh, pehli nihari. Oh, pehla paya khada gaya nahi. Have you been to that curry house? Have you been to that restaurant? Have you been to Bukhari? Oh, have you been Baltimore? Have you been here? Have you been there? This is all it is. Youngsters on a youngsters group. Although I'm not on a youngsters group because I'm old now, but this is what your groups are like. I know. All the groups are like this. You got lads on the group, masjid lads or whatever, So, Molana Abdul Rahim Sahib, somebody puts on a poster. Molana Abdul Rahim Sahib is delivering a bayan in English, So somebody puts it. Wanna go? So then somebody say, "Ting amen, ting 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 amen, 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 amen." So okay, we got our Jamaat together. We're gonna go for that. Then the next message comes from someone, from one of those guys. What's the next message? Where are we going after that? What does that mean? If I was on that group, if they said, where are we going after that? We're going out for 40 days. Where do you think we're going? We're going for 4 months. Where do you think we're going? Or, the minimum, we're going home and going to sleep. But what does that message mean? Everyone knows what that message means. Let's treat ourselves. Oh, you done that, you're going to treat yourself. Let's go for a milkshake. Nah, I'm sick of. Let's go for a burger. Let's go for a gourmet burger. Gourmet burger. My gourmet burger joke. Somebody sent me a picture of a gourmet burger. At that time, I'd never had a gourmet burger. So somebody sent me a picture. So I said, what's that? Stacked up. So he goes, Mosa, it's a gourmet burger. I said, what's a gourmet burger? He said, Mosa, custom, you need to try it. I just looked at the price tag. I thought, forget that. So then I looked carefully, and it's got a skewer going through it. It's got a stick going through it, innit? So I said, bro, what's the stick for? What's the skewer for? He said, Mosa, it's so big and it's so heavy that if you don't have the skewer going through it, it'll fall over. So I said, bro, you have too many of them. Pretty soon you're going to need a stick to stop you falling over. Not good for you, that. Kachra. But this is what happens. Everyone just food. Dohas as well. One time I went to a janaza with an elder. And we had to go, it was in another country. So people had arrived there from England. So we had to stay over. So a day after the janaza, we had to stay there. So they prepared food for us. So we sat down to eat. So the elder is a Tablighi veteran, very Purana Sati. He's a slow eater. So I sat down with them all. I'm just sitting there listening. And the elder, he's just eating, listening. And all the other guys are having a massive conversation whilst they're eating. So then I finished eating, and then there were some sofas. So I went and sat in the living room, and they carried on talking and eating. And the elder, he's just eating away, he's just listening. After they all finished, they all came and sat down. So the elder, he's a da'i, tablighi, so always looking for opportunities to give dawat. So he said to them, after they all settled in, he said, just now we were eating, what were we talking about? So they all embarrassed, staring at the carpet. So I said, bhai, batao, what were we talking about? He wasn't talking, he was just listening, but he said, what were we talking about? So they all, then no one would answer, so he asked one of them directly, he goes, bolo, bhai, what were we talking about? So he evaluated the conversation and he said, we were talking about food. So then the elder said, Joe, this is what we've become. We're sitting, eating food, and the whole conversation, Ala hamara bolta na awo nita mein, oh, amaru curry house joanu. No, come to Preston. Oh, have you tried this place? Have you tried that place? Oh, have you tried chatpati? Have you tried masala dosas? Have you tried paya nihari? Oh. The whole conversation was about that. So the elder said, we're sitting on food, we're talking about food. This is what we've been reduced to. And Sahaba Kiram were those people, one of the elders said, we live to eat. Next adventure. Now you hear these crazy stories, which just boggles the mind. I remember many years ago, we went to Dundee in Jamaat. So this local guy, he goes to me, oh, you're from Bombay? You're from Bolton? He said, oh, Bolton, yeah. In Bolton, there's this restaurant. I didn't know. I said, I don't know. I don't eat in restaurants and stuff. So I goes, I don't know. He goes, yeah. I said, how do you know? Now, this is in Dundee, huh? In Scotland, up in Scotland, past Glasgow. I goes, how do you know? He goes, we come there to eat. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, family, just jump in and sometimes we just come. I'm thinking, you're not get food in Dundee. What are you talking about? So I narrated that to somebody. People say, what's up? You're behind the times. People now, they catch a flight, they go abroad to eat. To Europe and even further, just for a meal. This is what we've been reduced to. That's just one aspect. Not to talk about traveling for football, or for shopping, or just for holidaying and stuff. So when we're at home, if I talk like this, if you guys were in Jamaat, if I'm talking like this, you guys would think, who's this guy? He's a nutter. Crazy, what planet are you from? You're a dinosaur. Yeah. But I can talk frankly like that to you guys because you're in the zone. You've been 2 days in the path of Allah, you've been hearing about the lives of Sahaba Kiram, and you realize that that life is a real life, the good life, the proper life. Yeah. And we've got the bad life, and we're the weirdos, they're not the weirdos. We're the oddbods, we're the madmen. The Sahaba Kiram, if a Sahabi burped in public, as you do sometimes, you're talking and you just burp. Yeah? So Sahaba Kiram, if they burped, they would be more embarrassed than a respectable person. A gentleman of today would be if he farted in public. They would be more embarrassed than that. Nowadays, people, after they've eaten, huh? MashaAllah. And people brag. MashaAllah, you know what? My family had gone out, yeah, proper starving. So I ordered 3 Happy Meals. I thought they'd be back in time, but they didn't come. MashaAllah, Thandi all. MashaAllah, Thandi all by myself. All this whole bucket of chicken wings, MashaAllah. But do hachki diru. MashaAllah, I had space for more. Bragging about what they can eat. Allahu Akbar. This is what we've been reduced to. This is why when we come out in the path of Allah, is to reprogram ourselves. No, the world's gone mad. What the people of the world are doing is madness. It's odd. And the Sahaba Kiram, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, our ancestors, they were the proper people. They were the real men. That's why Allah Ta'ala, wherever He refers to the Sahaba Kiram in the Quran, you'll have read in Hadith as well, Rijalun la tulhihim tijara. Allah Ta'ala calls them men because they were real men. Why? Because they had the akhirat in front of them. They were striving for the akhirat. And today, if you are like that, if you're going in Jamaat, if you go back now from Jamaat and tomorrow morning you go for Fajr namaz, and you start coming for 5 times namaz, people will start saying, you're right, you're right. If you now stand up and you say, I'm ready for 4 months, people say, okay. You become a bit fanatical. And people get worried. How's he going to get married? One guy, Hafiz Padal Sahib, all he used to tell us his story. One youngster went out in the path of Allah, spent 40 days, spent his time well, so he learnt of the benefits of following the sunnahs of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So he started adopting the sunnahs, miswak and beard and this and that. And then he heard the hadith of wearing an amama, a turban, that your namaz sawab is multiplied so much. So he determined that I'm going to wear the pagri now. Not occasionally, I'm going to wear it all the time. So when he went back, he's wearing a pagri. His mom and dad are like, we're not with him. Yeah? And I won't be able to. Yeah? And the Muslim parents, they're like embarrassed. So, and there was a family wedding coming up. So they thought, we can't have him. You know? Nauzubillah. Napi head, you know, nauzubillah. Yeah? Muslims are embarrassed with Islam. So now his dad, first his mom goes, Beta, mashallah, mashallah, wo haru se par, apne nahi pehne hai. So he goes, no, we do. Nabi Pak Sallallahu wore it. Then his mom and dad, so his dad goes, why is he still got it on? So she goes, I tried to explain to him, I'll deal with him. So then he tries the strict approach. Karina khido hido, topi pe, boni karwanu. It happens many times. The Tablighi brothers will know, these artists will know, that they go to youngsters, they get them ready again and again, they knock on the doors, encourage them, come out in the path of Allah, come out in the path of Allah, take them for 3 days, 10 days, then they go for 40 days, and they start coming on to deen, then the parents stop going. And it's happened many times that when the brothers have gone back, the dad comes out and says, he started his namaz, away huncha. He stopped hanging around with the crackheads, away huncha. The mission has been accomplished. Namaz to pare, jao. He doesn't need any more. So the Jamaat brothers try to explain to him, but you know, Tabligh is about bringing the whole deen in our lives, not just namaz. No, there's no need. And then, so what happens is that person, he's not going to stay on namaz if he's not making the effort of iman. Eventually, falls back into the bad company and everything. Then a few years later, then his dad comes. When the guy's got a tug, and the guy's about to be sent down, ma chokra ne le jao, ma poira ne le jao. But too late for that. What are we going to take a crackhead with us for? It's gone. So the dad tried to, but it didn't work. Now the family wedding's coming, so now they're really panicking. So they got the motaba on the case. Motaba is, the older brother, the uncle, the eldest uncle, the one that wears his pants up here, wears a tie. Never worked in an office, but always wears a tie. Smokes Benson and Hedges. Wherever there's a family thingy, he's always like, I think, he can't even speak English properly, but I think, and then he says, self-taught philosophy. Self-taught philosophy. So the guy hung him on the case. So they explained to him, we've tried, threatening him, this and that thing, nothing's worked. Tame kai karo. So he said, leave it with me, it's okay. No one says no to me. So he goes, he thinks about it, and then he sits him down. He goes, mashallah. So, Kem se beta, how you doing? He said, I heard you went in Tabligh. He said, yeah, alhamdulillah. He said, I went back in the days, umbi Tabligh ma jata hota, umbi chillo mar jawe lo. I used to go as well, whatever, all this, So he goes, do you like it? He goes, mashallah, life changing, alhamdulillah. I said, mashallah, you learned to wear this from there? He goes, yeah. He goes, mashallah, it looks good on you, But take it off now. Just wear it on Friday or something. So the guy goes, no, I'm going to wear it. He goes, okay. Don't wear it in the wedding. He goes, no, I'm going to wear it in the wedding. I'm going to wear my green one on the wedding in the wedding. So uncle goes, so now the uncle, because it's self-taught philosophy, uncle knows where to hit him, how to hit him. So a youngster, if you say to a youngster that you're not going to get married, then that really, you got him then. So he goes, beta, you know what? If you wear this, mark my words, no one will give you a daughter. You won't get married. People don't like stuff like this. Dari sadi nahi tha. So that youngster, because he was on the deen, and because he was steadfast, and because he was sincere, straight away Allah Ta'ala put the answer in his heart. He didn't think, he didn't crumble under the pressure. You know what he said? Allah Ta'ala put the answer in his head. He said, uncle, motaba, do you know why I wear this? I said, yeah. Why? Because sunnah, isn't it? He goes, yeah. You know what sunnah is? It's what Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to do. And you know who Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was? He was a prophet of Allah. And you know what? In his lifetime, he had 11 wives. So he wore this, he got 11 wives. I wear it, I won't get one. What are you talking about? The uncle had to snub out his Benson and Hedges and run off. Why? Because he's steadfast on his deen, his thinking is different. But everyone else now looking at him thinking he's odd. But we have to stand up to that pressure, not waver under that pressure, and understand that alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala's help is with me. One brother, youngster, he went out in the path of Allah in Pakistan, spent 4 months. So when he came back, he'd already been fixed up. So they said after he comes back from Jamaat, we'll get married. So when he came back, then they are talking about the marriage plans. So obviously the weddings are organized and arranged by the sisters and the mothers and the aunties. So they had, Pakistan style, they organized that when he goes to the girl's town to get the girl, then they're going to have a band playing, a whole truck, yeah, and they'll have a band and saxophone and all that sort of stuff, yeah. So he said to his mom, he goes, "Oh, listen, I'm not having that. They said that in Punjabi to him, like, shut up, you're going to have it. So he goes, no, I can't have it, I can't have that. I've just spent 4 months. What kind of a message am I going to give to other people if I'm going to have haram? And also, if because of me music is being blasted, all the people that listen, all their sin, I'm going to incur." Tablighi starts thinking like that. He doesn't think that, not like us, that we do something wrong. We don't think of the consequences, that somebody's going to see me doing that, people are going to accept it, it's going to be acceptable to people, kids will see me, they'll start doing it. A Tablighi thinks differently. So he said no. So they said, no, we've ordered, there's going to be dancers on the trailer and there's going to be band and all this. He said no. But they wouldn't have any of it. So he made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he cried to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, "Oh Allah, I spent 4 months, I made sacrifices. I've made a decision that I'm not going to disobey you privately, let alone publicly. Ya Allah, please don't let this happen." So what they did was, when they saw that he said, "Right, I'm not getting married then." So they said, just to quiet him, just to pacify him, they said, okay, we won't do it. So then, but he engaged in his duas. So on the day of his marriage, day of his wedding, when they were going, and they got the car, the hired car, and they said, "Go on, you sit inside, you sit in the back." So he sat in the back. When he got inside, then his 2 friends or cousins, they jumped in either side of him and they locked the door. Off they go. And then after they started driving off, then from the side came the trailer. And he's like, what? Stop the car, stop. They said, "Whatever. Let me get out, yeah, you're stuck now." So now he's crying, he's begging them. His elder brother, his cousin, his friend, he said, please, can't do this, please don't do this. It's my wedding day, you can't do this. It's haram. They said, whatever. So now his car's going and the trailer is coming behind and there's music blasting. Now he begged them, but they wouldn't let him get out. He's trapped. So now he turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he built that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during his time in Jamaat. So now he started, in his heart, he started praying to Allah. "Oh Allah, please help me and make me escape from this, so that when I go to that girl's town, there's no music. Otherwise all the people of the town are going to think that this guy, he's just a playboy. And my wife, she's going to think, okay, this guy just dunyadar, he's into his Bollywood and Lollywood." He said, "Ya Allah, please." So he's crying in his heart. What happens is he came to a railway crossing and his car went past. And then ding, 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 the barriers came down. So the car stopped. Yeah, and the trailer is on the other side of the crossing. So they said, we'll wait. So those guys, they're waiting. The signal doesn't come. Now they're getting late, but they're expecting us there. What's happened? Those guys, they got so tired, they stopped playing the music as well. The dancers stopped dancing, I won't tell you. So they went and inquired. So they found that there has been a crash on the line, and this line is now closed. When the barrier is going to come up, we don't know, might be 4 or 5 hours. So what we're going to do? So forget that, we've got to get to the thing. The food's been prepared there, they're waiting for us. So he drove into that town, lone car, no music, no nothing. And the dancers and the singers were all left behind. Allah Ta'ala works in weird and mysterious ways. Allah Ta'ala's help comes. And any person who is serious about tabligh and he's devoted his life to tabligh will tell you. You could write books, encyclopedias, volumes of people. Masab, the way that I got married, Masab, the way I got the job, Masab, the way that happened. Masab, it's like it just fell in my lap. I don't know what happened. Why is that? That is the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because Allah Ta'ala chooses, especially in this day and age, if somebody devotes himself to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, instead of devoting himself to his gourmet burgers, to his food, to his parties, to his holidays, that's what the whole world's doing. If somebody says, no, forget that, I'm going to party in Jannat, let everyone do that, let the oddbods do that, Let me be different. Let me be a soldier for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me be different. In this day and age, when the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is being adulterated, changed, attacked, not by non-Muslims, by Muslims. This story I just told you, who was a person who was watching football in the house of Allah? Non-Muslim? No, he was a Muslim, Musalli. And there have been so many cases like that. In a bayan, a person is watching football. In a bayan, a person is playing Candy Crush or something. In Jamaat, a person is watching a film upstairs. Allah, do you hate your deen that much? Are you that wretched? That in the path of Allah, in the house of Allah? One Jamaat, when they took a little projector, somebody phoned me and told me. I said, you know what you should have done? You should have told him, Tami ghir jao. Watching a film is haram and it'll distance you from Allah. But watching a film in the path of Allah, as a guest of Allah, in the house of Allah, where's that going to take you? That you're going to be thrown far away. Are you that much of an enemy of your deen? Have you no sense whatsoever? Huh? Yeah. So, this is why, brothers, we have to become representatives, ambassadors. We have to make that decision. But you know, to make that decision, it takes weight in your pants. You see? It takes weight in your pants. No, everyone can do that. All these gym boys, big guys, nothing. Huh? You look in your masjid, you look in your Preston, there's some guys, there's some old men. Yeah, you blow, they'll fall over. They look so weak. They might not be the cleverest, but they're real men. They made a decision. There's a person in this masjid, he's almost 80 years old. From the age of 17, from the 60s, he's never missed 40 days, 3 days. He's been 4 months so many times. And there are people like that in every town, alhamdulillah. Why? They went, they made the decision, they spent their time well, Allah Ta'ala selected them. And alhamdulillah, along the way they got their gourmet burgers. They're still eating, they still have a good life. But at the same time, they supported and they propagated the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They got the best of both worlds. So this is why, brothers, we have to make a decision. We're not going to be like the people of the world. Brother, they've lost anyway. I've got another story for you. One more story. Talk over.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar,
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
La ilaha illallah.
La ilaha illallah, Allahumma salli ala Allahumma al-bahazid, final example. So, but when we will adopt the deen, then people will look down on us, family members will look down on us, and non-Muslims will look down on us, Muslims will look down on us as well. We'll be the oddbods. People will think we're weird. Even our cousins, family members will think we're weird. But we have to remember that we're not the oddbods. They're the oddbods. People who are pursuing the dunya, they're the oddbods. Once there was a king. He got an infection in his nose. Back in the days when they didn't have plastic surgery. So the physicians said, we're going to have to cut off your nose. Otherwise it's going to spread to your brain and kill you. So they had to cut off his nose. So now a guy without a nose obviously looks like an oddbod, looks like a freak. Yeah? But the physicians and the courtiers, they go, no, your Royal Highness, you look as handsome as ever. So anyway, when they have the royal court, when he sits on there, they send a message out to everyone, to the public. When you come, don't do double takes of the king. Don't stare at the king. Yeah? Don't say anything. The emperor's got no clothes, kind of thing. Yeah. So they come, the people come, and they're like pretending to oh yeah, normal. But then one kid, he looks like, what a freak! He's got no nose. Yeah. So the king is like distraught. He said, look, I'm the king of this kingdom, and I look like a freak. So they said, no, you're royal. He said, no, sort the problem. So then they had a meeting, and they decided to make an attachment, nose attachment made of gold. And they said, you put that on your thing. So he put that on. But even then, like kids are like laughing at him. So he said, no, sort this problem. I'm supposed to be the happiest person, and I'm a laughing stock of the kingdom. So either you come up with a solution or it's off with your heads. So they all came together, the physicians, and they had a meeting. And then one wise physician, he said that the reason why the king is a laughing stock is because he's the odd one out. He's the oddball. He's a freak. So the solution to it is everyone should cut off their noses. So they presented it to the king. King says, yeah. So royal dictate is sent out and everyone has to cut off their noses. If they don't, the soldiers will imprison them and cut off their noses anyway. So after everyone's noses are cut off, now for a few days, everyone's like, look at you to everyone's laughing at each other. But then over time it becomes the norm. Now everyone's walking around like freaks without noses, but no one's laughing at anyone. And now life carries on. Everyone lives happily never after. Then 2-3 years go by. Everyone's happy now. The king's happy. A person from a neighboring kingdom, he comes and he's got a nose. Is he an oddball? Is he normal? He's normal. But when he comes inside, he's like asking for direction. Brother, can you... So what happens? He's laughing at you. He goes, what's with you? So the guy, he didn't say, oh yeah. He turns to him and goes, oh, you got something on your face? And then he sees everyone's laughing at him. He tries to laugh at people, and people laughing at him. People say, you freak, you freak. He said, no, you guys are freaks. No, you got something on your face, you're a freak. And after 2-3 days of being a laughing stock, the peer pressure gets to him. He goes into a back street and he cuts off his nose as well. That's what the world has become today. Abnormal behavior has become normal. And people have accepted it. Doing the weirdest of things, un-Islamic, Muslims are doing it. And if anybody speaks up against it, this is why I said to you, if I mention some of the stuff that I've mentioned today in Jummah Bayan, they wouldn't invite me again. I'd be thrown out. People say, but now when you sit in the Tarim Halqa, when you go out in the path of Allah, when you reflect, when you mirror your life against the lives of the Sahaba Kiram, you realize, no, we're the freaks, we're the oddballs, they were normal. And that's why Rasulullah said, Badal Islamu Ghariban. In the early days when Islam started, Islam was an alien thing. And the people who adopted Deen were looked as the freaks, the oddballs. But then it became acceptable when the Qurbanis were made. Nabi Pak said, before the end of time, it will become an alien thing again. That's what's happened today. So lucky is that person. Fatuba lil ghuraba. Glad tidings for the oddballs, Nabi Pak said. Those people who stand up and say, forget this, forget the peer pressure and cultural pressure. I have to represent my deen. It's my responsibility. I can't have it adulterated and changed and damaged the way people are doing it. Muslims destroying the deen. No, I'm going to be different. So for that, brothers, you've got to make a decision. But like I said, to make that decision, you need weight. Not the weight of the gyms. You need another weight. And to develop that weight, you have to go out in the path of Allah. Become real man. Allah Ta'ala make me and all of us real men. Subhanallah.